I'm excited too. Janelle, are you gonna introduce her?
Oh, okay. All right, so welcome everyone to our very first episode of Inspired Talks. And I'm not live on Clubhouse, I think, but welcome. Today we have Sheryl Kendall, one of our very good friends. She is a professional dancer, choreographer for over 20 years. And she has truly defied the odds as a dancer. She's been dancing for so long and she's still doing it. She's still in it. And she has proved with consistency, passion, and dedication that you can do this, that you can reach for your dreams and pursue this career. So, welcome, Sheryl.
Thank you.
And I'm personally very excited to have Sheryl here, because not only was she my teacher and she is my mentor, and I've seen her succeed in all the things and all her dreams and all her goals. So I'm excited to have her, and it's a very special thing for her to be here in our first episode.
Wow, this is amazing, ladies. Thank you so very much for having me. I appreciate
it. Okay, so Sheryl, tell us about your journey as a dancer. How did you start, and where has your path taken you?
It's been a crazy 53-year ride, to say the least. It's been amazing and also challenging in many ways. Since I was a kid, since I was 4, I did my very first recital at the YMCA in Fullerton, and I was hooked at 4. I just knew that that's something I just wanted to do and be, but my parents really didn't know where to put me, and actually the only reason why I really got into the YMCA in the first place was I was severely pigeon-toed as a child, and there's video of me, like the old video or the old movie cameras, I guess, or my dad had me on like the roll film, me literally running slow-mo or something, but I was constantly tripping over my feet because they were turned in, and the doctor said, we really got to get our feet to turn out. So I was in corrective shoes, and just, really, if it wasn't for Dr. Dr. Stafford, my pediatrician, he's the one who said, put Sheryl in ballet and help turn out her feet. So, but my mother didn't understand or know anything about the industry or professional dance studios or competition studios. So really that was my first introduction to dance, and there was this very long period of nothing, just me going to school and being a normal child. And then about my senior year in high school, it kind of reemerged again that this is something I really wanted to do, and so I joined the drill team at Glendora High School, and from there one of the teachers in town opened up her own studio, and her name was Bonnie Copeland, and she opened Encore Dance Studio, and so I became a student of hers for a very short period of time. But in that period of time that we were working together, she would drive us up to LA for these workshops with Al Gilbert, and I so wanted to be there, and I could hang with the the beginning type levels, but once we got into the advanced tap and things of that sort, I was lost, and I kind of realized that I was already kind of behind the 8 ball. Excuse me. And then back at high school, they had a show choir program, so I auditioned, and luckily, lo and behold, I made it. So my first interaction with a choreographer was Paul Hadibus, and he happened to be Kids of the Kingdom dancer at Disney. So he kind of gave us a little bit more of an education on the dance and rehearsal process and things of that sort. drill team, and that was kind of the extent of my training. And next thing I know, I'm auditioning for Disney for the parades, and I made it. So from 87, about a year after high school, I started to do this whole overlap thing between getting an agent, um, still working, starting to work in the industry, getting my first job with Disney. And also in that time period, we didn't stay at Glendora, but I had another teacher, Eddie Garcia, who before he went off to do Laksa and Paula Abdul, he was dancing outside the choir room. And so that's where I learned how to do my first pirouette, was from Eddie Garcia outside the choir room in high school. And then all of a sudden I moved to Torrance my last semester of Glendora. So I didn't get to graduate with anybody from Glendora High School. We moved to Torrance. And the promise was with my dad that since I had to move, that I would finally get to find a studio and start really learning how to dance. And so through that, you have so many tours. So through that, I ended up at Songsmith Dance Studio, and I became one of the assistants to one of the teachers there, who was working with a dance team at Bishop Montgomery High School. And that's where I met Andre Fuentes. And at this time, I think I'd already changed two agents. And now I was with Bobby Delos and Pat Tate for Bop Ballet. And so Andre, I sight unseen told Bonnie and Pat about, or Bobby and Pat about Andre. So we brought him into the agency, and literally his first audition was with Vince Patterson for the MTV tribute with Michael Jackson, the 10th anniversary, I think it was, and he booked it right off the spot. But I taught him his first pirouette at Bishop Montgomery High School. So I have like all these little different weird connections with all these people, just from kind of moving and trying to get myself, situated and how I was going to form this career as a dancer, professional dancer. And so kind of back at Disneyland very quickly, one of the coveted roles at Disney is being a friends with Mickey or Minnie. I can't really say the department, but that's something else that I really wanted to pursue. So I took that leap of faith and auditioned, and I became a friend of Mickey, Minnie, and Donald, and a few other people. So that was a great experience as well. But then I was at Disney for about 87 to 91. But in that time, I was already starting my trek back up to LA and trying to find my way for auditions and things of that sort. And then somewhere around 1992, 93, I got that big audition with Howie Mandel, and off I went on tour. And then it just kind of started from there with Kids Jam USA was the second tour with Sam Wright. It was kind of like a Kitty Lollapalooza tour that we just flew back and forth every weekend to the East Coast. It was not a West Coast tour. It was all on the East Coast, up and down, like from Rhode Island to Florida. And we just hit all those different towns. And it was like a lot of fun. And then the big call came, and Anita Mann, who I just worked with on Bobby's World, she called me and said, would you like to do this show called Power Rangers? So I was gone for 2 years. So again, a lot of my professional training in, the formal school, it just, it was very choppy, to say the least, because I went from being barely a dancer to now all of a sudden I'm on national tours. And of course, Power Rangers became a world tour. And I believe at that time too, I had opened up South Bay Young Performers. And so I was taking Lorena back and forth with me from the Valley back down to Torrance to do the company. So all these things, again, like my entire career has just always had tons of overlapping and things of that sort. Injuries, nary an injury for the entire duration of my career up until 2018, when I tore my right hamstring, partial tear. and it's been kind of problematic for me since then. But I'm overcoming it, and I do whatever I can, and I just keep going forward with the injury. In fact, as soon as I got off physical training, I had booked a show at another theme park. I won't say the name, but I had booked another show, and I was still in the compression sleeve, and they said, well, you can't wear it for the show. And I said, all right. So I took it off and just been dealing with that. But as far as any injuries throughout my career, no, I was very fortunate up until this point. So try to keep yourself injury free if you can.
Definitely.
Now, it's amazing how you were in the right path, because no matter how was your career and your path, you kept meeting people like me or other people and guiding them to their dreams. And so that kind of reminded you that you were in the right time, at the right place, at the right time, right?
Yeah, there was quite a few of you girls all at the same time. Again, with all these different overlapping career things that I was doing. I also, at the time that I was also doing the dance company, I was the artistic director and choreographer for the Golden Note Show Choir in Sandburg, at Sandburg, which was my old middle school in Glendora. So I had a group of kids. And so not only was it you, Lorena, who went on to having a professional dance career as well, Lysandra Roberts, who was also in the company, she started auditioning. I got her in with with Bob Ballet, and she was off and running with callbacks for commercials. And her first job out was landing the cover of Siamese Dream for Smashing Pumpkins, of which a couple of years ago she came back to LA, and I negotiated her contract for her. Came back to do a promo video for the farewell tour for Smashing Pumpkins. And also, while I was teaching at Glendora, I molded a few of the kids, and they went on to do some other things, have somewhat of a professional career as well. But namely, Angela Vamos, she ended up doing Glee. So out of the show choir, here she became a show choir dancer on a TV show. So, and then she wrote me a really nice Facebook message to let me know that I was inspirational, and I was her first teacher, and I really taught her the ins and outs of the show choir profession. So, and again, at that time too, I was jumping back and forth because I had booked Disney cruises. And then at that time, that's when I went ahead and officially closed South Bay Young Performers. So, yeah, it's been a crazy ride. So not only
And that's why we wanted you here, because not only have you been inspiring to yourself, but to others, and I'm a living proof of it, so I had to have you on our first podcast, right, Janelle?
Yes, and I know we're fairly new friends, because I feel like I only started getting to know you and Lorena. I mean, I knew who you guys were, but I never really hung out and got to know you both until, gosh, how many years ago? Maybe just within the span of 5 years, I feel like. But in those 5 years, we've become so close and have supported each other throughout our journeys in our careers. And yeah, we're really happy that you're here. So yay. And now I know you're doing a lot of acting. So talk about that a little bit.
Well, I do want to say, Janelle, that, you and I kind of met on a sad note because Andre had passed away. So we actually met doing that show at Carnival. But now, just recently, I was able to choreograph a show, and then I had you in it. So that was a lot of fun. That do have some connections somewhere of how things come up, and that has solidified our friendship even more. And yes, the two of us dance all the time together, and We have our luncheons together. So you girls are definitely family and sisters, and you know, a lot of times my support system in this crazy business. So I thank you for that too.
Thank you.
Yeah, so during the pandemic, you girls were off and running and doing your thing. And honestly, I think acting was kind of like the lifesaver for me. And it's something that I actually, when I first got into the business, I really wanted to do. And then because I kind of did like a 360 or whatever, I just took a different fork in the road, and I ended up doing all this dance work. But originally I had come to do acting, and I was doing a little bit here and there, and I got a couple little commercials and things of that sort, but nothing too huge. And but I always went out on acting audition calls, and sometimes I get a call back, sometimes I wouldn't. But it was always, you know, no, I didn't get the job. So I knew I needed some extra training in that respect as well. So um, before I had graduated from high school, I actually asked my dad if I could join Leonetti or Carolyn Leonetti talent agency, and that was something that I was still pursuing in high school. And unfortunately, he said we just didn't have the money to do it, and that after high school, if I wanted to pursue it, I could. And then after high school, Carolyn Leonetti was no longer the acting classes and the commercial classes that she was going to teach. I guess she actually just folded. So I didn't really have another avenue or know really what to do. But my agent now sent me this information about Baron Brown, and I took the little mini 1 week coursework, and I was hooked. I felt like this was a really good learning ground, and it seemed like there was a process that I could follow, like a step A through B, C, D, just to get me to where I want to be. And so I took the 6 week intensive, and from the 6 week intensive, I said, you know, I need to stay here. So I ended up taking the full year course, and I Saturday. And then, of course, I'm going to continue on with year 2, and then I'm going to do more classes and more classes. So it just never ends. And at least one thing for me that this industry has taught you, like you have to keep reinventing yourself. You can't just stay stagnant. You constantly have to keep moving and shifting and evolving. And so, you know, it's never been that I've ever been the best at anything. It's just I have that drive and that perseverance to want to keep going. And that is the key, really. You just don't give up. And I've had obstacles and challenges along the way. I had a 10-year flat line where I had to do adulting, and you know, I had to go to college, and my parents were getting sick, and my dad suddenly passed away. So I'm not saying it's been a breeze, that there were definite highs and lows in this industry, and I had to step away to take care of business. And, you know, I'm sure it's hurt me today having those 10 years where I wasn't really dancing, and now just trying to jump back in and go, okay, I'm ready. And it took some time. And luckily, again, Bill Prudish, he was very kind and helped me out along the way and put me in the guided dance program at the Edge. And I'm glad he did, because I wouldn't have had a restart if it wasn't for him. So I do need to give him a shout out as well, in case he's listening.
Now,
And, go ahead.
you brought up a good point.
Yeah.
I'm not giving up, because I think that's a very, you know, different age, different stages of your life, of your career, and how you completely did a 360, went the college route, did some adult life, like you said, and then you came back into the business, and you're the living proof of coming back and having to come back. So it's never too late. You know, when people are like, I'm 30, I don't know how to dance, it's too late. I'm never going to be a dancer.
Too late.
What
Never.
would you say that to that?
It's not too late. I'm 53 now, and I'm not ready to quit. And I don't know if it's just me or if it's the soul. My soul has a lot to do with it, because if I don't want to go do something, the soul is like, no, I need to go do this. So I don't know about you, but you're coming. So I'm along for the ride. Whatever the soul wants, that's what kind of, I guess, drives me. And again, it hasn't been easy coming back. I mean, I still have my challenges, but 2019 was like, wow, that was an incredible ride. And I just did job, 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 job. And then all of a sudden, the pandemic. So it took another year and a half out of my training, which I so desperately needed to keep me in shape. So now I have some other challenges, with the weight issue and just, my own personal headspace. But again, if you can kind of let the headspace go and know that everything's going to be okay, and you just keep doing what you need to do, and you just keep showing up. And as long as you show up, you're ahead of the game, because somebody who didn't show up, they're not in the game. So that's why I keep going, because I know eventually one day, maybe it could be another 10 years from now, but maybe I'll become that dancer that I seek to be. It'll all fall into place. So just got to keep searching and keep going.
Yes, definitely. Very good advice there, Cheryl. Yeah, just a sign of resilience from you, and just your, like you said, perseverance as a dancer, and just as a hard worker, just someone who has very good work ethics, and so yeah, a lot of people can learn from that. So we have some trivia questions that we ask our guests. So these are like quick, just one answer, or just a quick one sentence answer, not a long-winded answer, but whatever you can come up with.
Okay.
So our first question, go ahead, and Lorena will ask you that one.
Okay.
Okay. So just really quick.
Okay.
What is the best place that you have traveled or toured? Well, yeah, the best place that you've toured in United States or out of the country.
Spain.
Spain?
Spain.
And what tour was that?
That was Power Rangers. It was a beautiful country. And I love the fact that during the afternoon they take a siesta, and then they come back, and then the nightlife is just incredible. So there's kind of a story though. I didn't realize I was eating frozen paella the whole time I was in the country. But while I was there, that's basically all I ate was paella, until somebody showed me that it actually came from a frozen food little, I know, thing. But it was really good. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, it's just a gorgeous country, and I enjoyed being there. Lots of history. And I think my second place would be Australia.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never been to Spain. What is the best compliment that you have ever received?
Okay, I'm gonna say that came from Adam Parson, and we were on Power Rangers, and in between shows, he would choreograph numbers, and of course film them while we were up on the stage, since that was an awesome platform for him to really start out his artistry. And he stopped us in the middle of whatever we were doing, whatever routine he had choreographed. And the highest compliment that he gave me was, Cheryl, you're a really clean dancer. And so I took that to heart, that at least my moves were readable, and that, a few teachers today always tell us, like, if somebody could not hear, could they see and understand what you were doing in the movement, because it's clean and clear and sharp. So I always took that compliment to heart.
That's nice. Lorena?
Hey, and that's a huge compliment. So that's an amazing, to be clean and precise is what we all dream as dancers, right? Okay, so mine. If you had a choice between two superpowers, sorry, being invisible or flying, which would you choose?
Flying. Flying. You don't want to be invisible.
Janelle, tell her why that's awesome, because
I already forgot, but I remember that born leaders would choose flying.
Really?
Or like people that are in the leadership position. So that means you're a very good leader.
Well, thank you. I try.
Yeah, there's studies. So I don't know all the studies, but I just know that there are. And that
Just
was
Google it.
yeah, we Googled it.
Oh, cool.
What are, let's see, what are the three people, dead or alive, that you would want to meet or have dinner with, perhaps?
Okay. First one I know for sure is Oprah Winfrey. She's always been an inspiration to me, and the fact that she literally, with all of her challenges and probably obstacles in her way that she overcame, and look what she's been able to do. The second person would probably be Barack Obama, believe it or not. I would like to have dinner with him. And lastly, probably, uh, uh, what is her name? Eleanor Roosevelt. So she was definitely an inspiration to women, and uh, she did a lot for people. I don't think she necessarily helped within the women's suffrage, because I think that was after her time. But definitely somebody I would want to sit down and pick her brain. Those are my three.
Awesome. Well, you passed our 5 quick questions of the trivia. You did a great job. We had one more last question, because today, well, later on in other episodes, we are interviewing a lot of martial artists.
Right.
So we wanted to find out from you that you went to you were Power Rangers. Did you have to do martial art training? And if you can explain to us, was it difficult? Was it hard? Did you have to fake it, or what was it?
Well, what we did was called show martial arts. So it was like illusion. Like we weren't really actually kicking and hitting each other. But yes, we had a gentleman. His name was Sammy. And I believe he was on the actual TV show. In fact, he just had a birthday. And we did have to go through some training with him while the stages were being set up over at Barker Hangar. So we had the mats out and everything, and then a lot of the fight scenes were actually choreographed. And he choreographed them, and he taught it to us. So yes, we did have to have some training behind us as well. Absolutely.
And what Power Ranger were you? I don't know if we can ask that. Can we ask that?
I'd rather not say, but I did a little ay 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 ay. I was like a little robot.
That's so cool.
It was a lot of.
Thank you so much, Sheryl. I know we could talk a lot more about all these other different adventures, and we definitely want you maybe later on in our later episodes, because there's so much more to you than just the dancing and all the questions that we asked today. So thank you again for coming and your time, and your first time being live on YouTube and Facebook and Clubhouse and a podcast. You did it, girl.
Thank you.
Yay,
I want to come back.
Sheryl.
We'll talk some more about mentoring and things of that sort, because I'm still going and still mentoring a few people here and there too.
Yes,
you.
definitely.
All right, ladies. So what
And
happens?
thank you for keeping inspiring, like how this talk is, this show is called Inspire Talks. Thank you for being yourself, and thank you for keeping inspiring others. Yeah. Oh, I like that little sign.
What is it? Can't
Oh,
see.
Right there.
Fire.
So
Yes.
thank you
Yes,
again.
thank you so much. And
Ladies.
inspire others.
Yay. All right. See you guys later.
Spirit fingers. I love how we all did that.